Hola, hola. This is Ayanna Mojica, Wisdom Medicine Woman and founder of the Feminine Wealth brand. Happy holidays. Happy holidays. In this video, I'm going to be sharing how to create a wealthy life in 2023. Now, this is very important, so tune in closely. I'm going to be reading a little bit from my notes so that I make sure I get everything in. Okay, and over the next few weeks, I'm going to be sharing more on my personal story, which is quite dramatic. Really dramatic, how I came from a history of trauma, intense trauma, abuse, even being stalked and kidnapped, to where I am now, living a beautiful life here in Oaxaca, Mexico, and living a wealthy life, and about to live even a more amplified, a wealthier life. So, you ready for this? So I want you to really listen closely. Take notes. Get a pen and paper and take notes. So get your journals, because when I teach, a lot of pearls get dropped. And if you just take just one of the pearls, just one, and act upon it, your life changes, your life shifts. Your mind begins to create different neural pathways. And not only that, I'm an anointed woman. What does that mean? I have the power and the grace and the light and energy of God that flows through me, to me, and as me. Therefore, now listen very closely. Therefore, when I put my hands on someone, they get healed. There's something that changes. Therefore, when someone's in my presence, their vibration lifts up. Therefore, when you're listening or reading something I've written or listening to something I'm saying, if you open your heart and your mind and your consciousness and every one of those DNA cells, if you do it, God will come through you, to you, and as you, and touch you, and something's going to change. Now, you might want to say God, maybe it's Goddess, universal life force, energy, quantum particles, whatever you want to call it, nature, same thing. It's the same thing. I'm just using the word God, and you will hear me use other terms as well. But there's a powerful energy that runs through me, and it runs through you too. And if you're not feeling it, it's because some things are stuck. Maybe it's a belief, maybe it's a trauma, maybe it's something physical, maybe it's a program, maybe it's an ancestor. There's so many reasons why we are not rising in wealth. So I'm going to start with this. Over the next few days and weeks with these videos, I'm going to be sharing a lot more personal things, a lot more about where I come from, what's my backstory, how did I get here in a place of great magnificence and expansion and rising and feminine wealth rising. So I'll share a lot more of that, weaving it into the actual practical teachings of feminine wealth rising, feminine wealth consciousness, the actual applications, the practical applications, the ceremonies, the rituals, quantum leaping. Now, right now, I'm in that field because during the pandemic, now listen carefully, during the pandemic when everything was quiet and still, there was a reset. And I was one of those who went through that reset. And through that reset, I quantum leaped into another dimension, another realm of infinite possibilities, and actually being able to materialize much more quickly, much more efficiently, more often, the things that I want and intend in my life. So I can bless others. I could bless myself. I could bless my family. I could bless my students. I could bless my community. And with these tools, quantum leaping, jumping time, alternate realities, transurfing is an area that I'm working on right now. When we apply these things, and when I'm teaching it, when I'm delivering it, when I'm sharing it, when I'm coaching with it, your life changes. So if you don't want your life to change, just turn these videos off, because you're going to be hearing and seeing and actively being ignited if you choose to move on to your next level of expansion, to quantum leap. If you don't know how to do that yet, we'll learn together. So I'm going to look at my notes a little bit, okay? I hope that's okay. Now, a little bit about me. I am a beautiful, brown-skinned, Puerto Rican woman, and was raised in this Puerto Rican culture that is very rich in spirituality, music, the arts, research, scholarliness. There's so much to it, so much to my culture. I was raised in that. I'm some people look at me and they say, "Yo, you're not Puerto Rican." Yeah, I'm Puerto Rican. Yeah, I'm Puerto Rican. And I'll talk more about that later. And so I lived a life as a professor. I've lived a life as an artist. I have a master's in fine arts, and I have a PhD in spiritual and expressive arts. And I'll share more about that again at another time. So I'm a professional educator, but I'm also a professional artist. I am dedicated to the Magdalene, and everything I do, even this video, has to do with connecting to that very powerful avatar of Maria Magdalena and her beloved Yeshua. Everything I do, so I'll be sharing more about that as well. As I mentioned before, I am a former, in my past life, I was a victim of abuse, and I was kidnapped and stalked, and that is a story in itself. That was actually a miracle. In fact, I'm going to be doing a series on the miracles of my life. And if you would like to hear more about the miracles and how miracles work and how they could be more in your life, please make a comment below. So let me just share a little bit about how do you create a wealthy life in 2023. So the first thing, now take notes, because I have a few things here. I'm not going to put everything out there right now because it's a list. But the first thing is that you got to actually dare to be wealthy. Dare to be wealthy. Dare to believe in it. Dare to process your beliefs about it. Dare to deal with any triggers around the words wealth and luxury and abundance. I mean, people, I've been teaching this since 2015. When my whole world was, I came out of a suicidal depression. Because my beloved, my partner, when he passed away in 2012, and we had a marvelous life, and it was, it just was rapid. Everything crashed. And I went into a serious, 1.5 years of suicidal grief. And there was 3 months I would need. So coming out of that, one day I woke up and I'm like, how the heck did I get here? Because I was in a place of great despair. I was sleeping on the floor of my apartment. I couldn't even figure out how I even got the apartment. And I looked around, I had nothing in the apartment. Nothing in the refrigerator, nothing in the cupboards. And I looked at my bank account and I'm like, oh my gosh. And the rent was 2 weeks due. The Mercedes was, behind in payments. And when I woke up out of that suicidal grief, because I was actually suicidal, I was trying to figure out how to kill myself, how to get out of the pain and the despair. When I came out, and the only reason why I did it, well, I'll tell you that another time. But when I came out of that and I took stock of what was going, I'm like, this will never happen to me again. I refuse to be this broken again. It's not happening. I need to study everything I need to study around money, around wealth, about legal papers, everything that is needed, because how many of us women have gone through a similar situation and was left destitute? Many. I found out very quickly, because when I came out of that grief and I took stock and I said, I need to figure this out like fast. And I went deep, and I began to teach. I began to teach women free classes on the unapologetic wealthy mystic. So I've been doing this since 2015. So that's 7 years later. Here we are, 17, I think it's 7 years later, 15, 16, 17, 18. Yeah, 7 years later, not only, I'm still teaching on this. I took a little break when, during the pandemic, so I could resource and rebuild and rest and heal. But when I came out of that, in 2015, I said, I need to teach this. I need to figure it out. I'm going to teach it, and whatever I figure out I'm going to share it with other women. Now, I'm not discounting the men. Believe me, there are a lot of men who go through stuff too. I get it, but I'm talking specifically to the women. So I encourage you to dare to be wealthy, because I didn't even have a concept of wealth. And this is true. My parents and grandparents, they worked hard. They worked hard for the money. I'll share a little bit more about their backgrounds in another video. Now, if you can't even conceive of wealth, you're just not going to have it, period. And many of us have a poverty, lack, limit consciousness. I did not have a wealth consciousness. I was very well educated. I could get jobs. I worked hard. I worked long. I got paid well, but I didn't know how to create wealth from that. And many of us are like that. I didn't have a conception. So this piece, the wealth consciousness, the wealth mindset, this is the first thing. You got to even believe you can have it so you can experience it. So how do you create an unapologetic, wealthy life in 2023? Is number one, you have to conceive it. What does wealth mean? What does that even look like? What are our beliefs about wealth? What is the pattern of money in our families that we are running automatically about money and finances and wealth and being rich, which are two different things, by the way. Rich and wealth, they're two different things. So that's the first step. How wealthy do you dare to be? What are your beliefs about what are your beliefs about people who are wealthy? I see a lot of people who don't have any daggone money criticizing wealthy people, rich people. They have no money, flat broke, living from paycheck to paycheck, and then they want to attack people who have money. You got to be careful for that. That's very, very dangerous, because if you can't create wealth, and here are these people who have wealth creating jobs for other people, opportunities for other people, creating systems, creating new ways of doing and being, distribution. Yes, I know there's an uneven distribution of wealth, But whose fault is that? Whose fault is that? And if we're blaming a system, then we're in victim mentality. And if you're in victim mentality, you're disempowered, and you definitely are not going to be a wealthy person. Now, I'm talking straight. The pandemic, this situation I had with the suicidal grief and coming out of it was a major boom. The pandemic was the next major boom, because that's when I'm like, oh shoot, this whole situation that's going on is trying to lock down my freedoms, trying to lock down my ability to move around the world, moving currency, doing things, experiencing fantastic things, bringing people together, creating wealth. So when that happened, and I moved to Oaxaca, Mexico, and I took that time to go deep and heal and rest and I had to realign again. My beliefs, what was going to be number one in my life. I had to reprioritize again, because here's this other factor. The factor in their life, in everybody's life, was, oh shoot, they're trying to shut this thing that's going on, and I'm not putting it on a person, or I'm a seer, so I knew what was going on, but I also knew how to navigate around that. That's another topic. But the thing is this, my darlings, my friends, when we have these type of situations in our lives that are like major, like 911 was another place where I had to realign and reprioritize. 911, the pandemic, my own personal crash. When these events happen in our lives, that's the time to take stock. And if we haven't taken stock and prioritized, then we're at the mercy. We become a victim. We're at the mercy of whatever chaos. We become a victim. So number one is dare to be wealthy. Really, what does wealth mean to you? Write that down in the comments. Tell me what you want to know, how I can help you, what else you want to hear about this topic, because feminine wealth rising, and I'm going to talk about that too, a lot. We're going to go deep. Feminine wealth rising is a huge, huge piece in what's going on in the world right now. And it's going to help to shift the imbalance. It's going to help with the evening out and creating new systems. We've got to have the feminine in there. We've got to make sure she's wealthy and she's powerful. Feminine wealth rising. Number one, how to create an unapologetic wealthy life in 2023 is dare to be wealthy. Dare to be a little bit more wealthier than you are. And what does wealth mean? I'm not talking about savings. I'm talking about assets. Assets. And yes, savings can be an asset, but how many of us save the $500 and then it's gone the next month? I've done that. I don't do that anymore. I create wealth. Dare to be wealthy. Take the next level of expansion in your mind and your consciousness of what could that look like? What are your beliefs around it? This is big. We're going into 2023. The reset already happened. You still have a chance to create. We always have a chance to create something new, something better, something higher, something richer, something more health, better relationships. Number one, dare to be wealthy. Dare to be wealthy. Talk about money. Riches begin in the form of a thought. Talk about money. Talk about stock. Talk about land and assets. Do it. Now, I am Ayanna Mojica, wisdom medicine woman, so I'm speaking from a lot of wisdom and experiences. And I truly deep down, one of my missions is to help with feminine wealth rising. I've been doing this since 2015. I've been trying to figure out the money thing since 2000. 2000, after my divorce, another life thing. I was trying to figure out the money thing since 2000. It took a long time because of the mind. Because of the mind, I didn't have the wealth consciousness. I just didn't have it. I had to really apply and get through those blocks in my mind, mindsets, beliefs, ancestor stuff. I'm in another world now. I'm in another world. And I want to encourage you to dare to be wealthy. I am going to be posting a link in the description on tips, different tips, wealth tips. So I'll be posting the first one in the description. I'm also going to be posting a link to an application to apply for and be interviewed for Feminine Wealth Rising Mastermind 2023. I'm working with 5 women in a very, very intimate, close, accelerated container that also includes the practical things, wealth dynamics, the sexuality is included in this piece, quantum leaping, jumping time, how do you accelerate it? There's much more in there, but I invite you to click on the application, the link to the application, Feminine Wealth Rising 2023 Mastermind. Fill out the application. I will send you more information. You'll receive more information, and we'll get a chance to chat. If you're part of the mastermind, fantastic. If you're not part of the mastermind and you applied, fill out the application, I'm going to call you. We're going to have a chat. You can ask your first one question about wealth. I bless you. I'm going on with the day. This is an amazing time. We're going into 2023. The reset already happened. Where have you reset yourself? Right? How to create a wealthy life in 2023. An unapologetic wealthy life in 2023. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate it. Please, again, always put a thumbs up, share, subscribe. But really more importantly is the conversation. The conversation. I bless you. Oh, by the way, I'm going to be in the San Diego, Orange County area within the next couple of months, taking care of some feminine wealth rising business. And if you'd like for me to speak to your group, if you'd like for me to present or even do a workshop, please contact me. Blessings to you. Ciao.